Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and I'm back with part 2 of What If Naruto Was an Uchiha Bastard, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels if you're new. Yes, that's correct, Anime King. Anime King 2 Anime Symbol. I post What If every single day for you guys to enjoy. And if you want your What If to be done by me, just go ahead and drop your comment down in the description, and I'll put it to good use, guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one. So without further ado or wasting any more time, let's begin now, guys. So, the last part that we left off, Kushina Uzumaki came to the Hidden Leaf Village. However, she was being bullied. She didn't really have any friends or anyone. Really, she was alone. As it was hard on her, the only person that was there was her mentor, Mito. She was being bullied when someone showed up. Some of them called him the bastard, because he was one. The bastard of the Uchiha clan. His true name was Naruto Uchiha. Showing skills beyond his age, he demolished the bully. He did not stand a chance in hell against him. With that said and done, he walked away. Kushina believed in that he took him on because he thought that she was some damsel in distress. But that was far from it. She met him later on at his own spot, believing that no one was there, as they got to talk, actually becoming friends. That was when Mikato arrived. Mikato was a good friend to Naruto, and someone that treated him fairly within his clan. Naruto's life has not been an easy one. His father was a horrible person, even by his clan standards. He is created a rather unholy representation of himself. But that was not the problem. His father was, well, he slept with a senju. The clans were never getting along. Finding out that the senju was pregnant, which was his mother, well, neither clan wanted Naruto to be born. However, his mother stood firm on her beliefs of not doing anything that was suggested to her. His mother was not too favorable of him either. The reason being she allowed the senjus to sway her thoughts. Perhaps if Hoshirama was alive, things like this wouldn't have happened, but Tobirama teaching had been passed down through the ages and it had corrupted many. There was one person though that did not see Naruto as a problem. Tsunade Senju from the Senju clan. She treated him fairly, even sent him things when she was on the road. However, she had too much baggage. She lost so much. She wanted to take Naruto with her out of the village. After losing Dan and Nawaki, she couldn't stay here anymore. But despite the fact that the Uchiha clan did not see Naruto as favorable, they did not want him to leave. It was just their way of putting him down even more. He was a part of the clan and he would fight for this clan and this clan alone. That was how they saw it. As Mikato got to meet Kushina, they quickly became good friends. As the time passed by, we learned that Naruto had feelings for Mikato ever since. However, she was wedded to someone else. 3 years older than them, Fukaku Uchiha. Fukaku did not like Naruto because they fought not too long ago and Naruto demolished him. He claimed that it was surprised that he wasn't ready, that Naruto cheated somehow, but Naruto won fairly. Despite how they might believe that he was useless or say bad things, Naruto was stronger than most of them. The kids, that is. They grew up within the academy. Minato and Naruto were not really friends in the beginning, but the both of them possessed extraordinary skills for their age, as they were being seen as prodigies, which led the both of them to go up against each other many times, and during that rivalry, they turned friends. Naruto saw that Minato had something for Kushina, which he intended to help him with. They were going by her house, but something was wrong. She was taken. On that night, the Kumo ninjas that came to take Kushina did not leave. Minato was able to get her away as Naruto took them on. He left no survivors. The boy's name hit an all-time high as people heard about their victorious win. As they became ninjas, they were placed on a team with Jiraiya of the Sannin, and another member included. As the time passed by though, their great strength was being seen more and more, and how powerful they were. Naruto was approached by someone. This was none other than Orochimaru, who had taken a vested interest in the boy. He attacked Naruto to see it, as he saw the three-totem Sharingan. Unlike Minato, Naruto had that coal in his eyes that Orochimaru was looking forward to. A deal was struck. These two boys were far too powerful to not be focused on. They needed a one-on-one teacher. Their last teammate was placed in a specialized unit for weapon users, while Jiraiya took Minato, and Orochimaru took Naruto, as Naruto was brought to a place to face a man known as Danzo Shimura, where he was told how things were going to go from now on, returning exhausted mentally that day, as Mikoto was actually looking out, wanting to see Naruto. She knew that many had words to say because of many seen her with Naruto, but she just did not care despite what her father said. She was simply doing as she was told because it was to help the clan. Naruto was summoned by the clan head. He was surprised by this, as he had made his way, given the altercation that he had with the man's son not too long ago. He believed that this was a part of it. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across to the place check out for yourself so to begin this new episode. It's been a very long time since he's been summoned to this place. Naruto stepped into the room. Seated behind his desk was Hiroshi Uchiha. Hiroshi was a tall man. He was the father of Fukaku. He had stress lines running from his eyes going down towards his nose. He had the standard Uchiha look otherwise of a man in his later years. Fukaku wasn't his only child. Fukaku had an older brother, but sadly he passed away during the warring time. Bringing Fukaku into the world was something that he was grateful for, because it signified that their blood, their generation of keeping the title of clan head would remain strong. He paused what he was doing when he saw Naruto. As Naruto performed the standard Uchiha greeting by bowing his head to the man respectfully before he was told to lift his head, which he did. The man was always serious, as Naruto had a few things in his mind on why he's been summoned here today. I wanted to commend you on your recent growth of popularity, he said in a calm tone. You stopping the kidnapping of the Uzumaki girl has placed you on the map as someone to be recognized by many, and soon to be feared as well because of your extraordinary skills. I was able to get a detailed description on what happened on that day, and I commend you for representing the clan accordingly. Naruto wanted to scoff, but he refrained from doing so. as if this was a reason why he called him. Naruto knew them all too well. He knew all of them, him, including the elders. How they acted if they saw something that they wanted to control. He wasn't an idiot about to fall for that. He simply went along with it. However, just as Naruto thought, I've been hearing about your altercation with my son. Naruto remained quiet, allowing the man to say his piece. I am sure that you're well aware of the union that was set between the Zykor family and my family to represent a stronghold for the Uchihas for generations to come. Naruto was well aware of what he was talking about. Zykor was the name of Mikato's father. I have been hearing rumors and talks that you are becoming a problem in this area, to in fact interrupt this union or might even have the intention to break it up. Is that true? He said, giving Naruto a critical gaze. Might I ask, who was the one that informed you about that? Said Naruto. No, you may not. No, answer my question, he said. Naruto tilted his head as he looked at the man. As he had yet to say a word, he was just looking at him, his face unreadable. Perhaps you did not hear what I said, he said, giving Naruto a stern look. No, those allegations are false. I desire nothing of the kind, Naruto said. Good, because I'm sure you understand just how much this will help our clan. Every other parts are playing their side rather well. It would be truly unfortunate for anyone to step in between this union and cause any further obstructions for the coming future, he said. Have I made myself clear? Perfectly, sir, said Naruto. As he was dismissed, Naruto made his way towards his house. As he entered, he made his way towards the fridge, taking out something to drink. You know, I gave you that key for emergencies. Well, I think that this counts as one. Mikato said as she was seated on his couch, having left her home and entered Naruto's, waiting on him to return. She had a rather sad look on her face as she looked at him, as he was drinking the contents in his hand. Did something bad happen? The reason why you're late and now being summoned by the clan head? Well, I wouldn't classify it as bad, said Naruto, as he sat down on the couch, looking straight ahead. For one, I was removed from the team that I'm on. She was rather surprised. Why? Well, it's not really a bad thing. The team has been disbanded. Jiraiya has taken Minato on as a sole pupil, and you know our weapon expert. He's been placed in a weapon training field. As for me, I was taken on by Orochimaru of the Sannin. Wow, that's amazing, she said. A Sannin personally training you. He must have saw something amazing in you, she said. The opposite. He saw the darkness in my heart, said Naruto. Mikato looked worried at that. The darkness? Yes, said Naruto as he got up, making his way toward the sink, as he rested both hands on it. He said that he liked how I was able to control the darkness in my heart. I'm surprised that most people even know that it was there. Or perhaps he's just more perceptive than others. She got up and made her way towards him. Come on, he's been a bit too much, right? I mean, you're one of the kindest people I know. Naruto did not say anything, simply gazing through the window. I suppose you want to know why I was called by the clan head. She looked down sadly. Was it because of me? She said. I know what you've been doing, keeping your distance away from me, time and time again. Because of what? Because of what was chosen for me, before my understanding. And I know that Fukaku is making things difficult, and it doesn't matter what I say. She did not finish her thoughts. Yeah, that was basically it, said Naruto. Basically a warning from his father to leave you alone. To make sure that I'm not a problem in your union. Mikoto did not say anything, as she was rather quiet, not disagreeing that there was something there. Neither of them had ever spoken about that matter, and she feared that it would be awkward, given how things were set, as Naruto suddenly spun around. You know, Orochimaru is right about something. That darkness that festers inside of me. I've been doing well to keep it inside for the longest time now. Disrespect after disrespect. Humiliation after humiliation. The things I deserve, the things I want, are never truly in my grasp. Always a mile away. Always some blockade, always something keeping me apart from what I deserve, said Naruto. Mikoto did not move an inch as she was looking directly into his eyes. As he spoke, it sounded like he was talking about her. I am sick and tired of people telling me how my life is to go and what I am to do, forcing me time and time again to deny what I deserve, trying to make me feel like I'm less of a person than anyone else. Like I too don't deserve happiness, he said. Naruto was sick and tired of it all. Tsunade was gone. Minato and Kushina were becoming closer and closer. Getting to be together, to be happy. Both of them realizing that they chose the right person. Him on the other hand, the one that he wanted the most was right in front of him. And time again, everyone tried to make it seem like he deserved no happiness. And if that marriage proposal go through, if they became one, she would forever be out of his reach. They're right, said Naruto. What? She said. They're right. For the longest time now, I've been crazy about you. Some might say that I'm immature, that I'm young, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I know that what I feel for you is love, said Naruto. And nothing in my heart can deny these feelings. Absolutely nothing. And with all this time that we spent together, I know that there is something there for me as well. You don't want to marry Fukaku, but you're being forced into doing so, said Naruto. But I can't just stand by. Stop, she said. You can't say that. Do you have any idea what would be done if they found out that you're saying this right after you were warned by the clan head? I don't care, said Naruto. Well, I do, she said. And I can't bear anything happen to you. I can't allow you to get hurt because of me. As she turned her back to walk away, but Naruto grabbed her arm and pulled her towards him as he kissed her. And in that moment, the both of them knew. They knew for one another as well. After what seemed to be hours, but in reality was just a few seconds, they broke apart. She had tears in her eyes. Not for sadness though. A bit of that was there because of the situation that they were in. But it was happiness. She stuttered. As she looked at him, I tried for the longest time now to deny what I've been feeling for you. Knowing that I have to do my duties. Knowing that I have to do what I'm told. But I can't anymore, she said. And I know that we're young. But I've never felt anything towards Fukaku. I was simply doing my duty as my father's daughter, she said to him. But when I'm with you, I'm so happy. Everything else seemed to just disappear. All the problems, all the chaos that are taking place outside of these walls. I love you too, she said. But we can't do this, she said. We can't break the rules that were set We can't get away with this. They will never allow it. Naruto's Sharingan activated subconsciously because of the rage boiling in his heart. I will find a way, he said, looking her in her eyes. And I will make sure that we're together, he said. I promise you. She believed his words. Despite how impossible it seems, she believed his words without a shred of doubt. And on that day, it was the most happiest day for Naruto. However, happiness did not last for too long. Time skip. Naruto was surrounded on all sides. None of them were dressed in ninja clothing. However, they had ninja training. 7 of them in total. 3 holding kunais. The other 4 had blades. The metal were not that sharp. Naruto could see, his eyes able to see the detail as his Sharingan was activated. The world was not a safe place right now. There were many problems taking place all over the elemental nation. And as things were, it seems like the third Great Shinobi War was about to break out anytime soon. The reason why he was here was simple. Orochimaru. This was supposed to be their first simple mission together, but the mission of protecting something led to Naruto being surrounded on all sides. Orochimaru was there. However, he was in the trees watching and not offering any assistance or help to Naruto. The item that Naruto had in his possession at the moment was incredibly expensive. As they were heading towards the land of tea, the item was supposed to be given back, and Naruto was currently being held up. These people weren't your average set of bandits. In fact, they all possessed ninja training. Naruto could tell that the moment they appeared, leaping from the trees. They weren't Konoha ninjas though, or anything related to Land of Fire. Maybe somewhere where the trees were common, given they were able to tree hop rather easily. As Naruto looked at each of them, having denied giving over anything, they decided that they were done talking. Not that Naruto was a man of much words for his enemies, so they were just gonna take it off his bloody corpse. Orochimaru threw him into this head first, and simply left, wanting to see just how the boy will handle himself in a situation that he wasn't prepared for, a situation that he did not see coming. As the Sannin stood there, watching Naruto, they surrounded Naruto with the intent to use their numbers against him. The first 3 with the kunais launch all 3 of them towards him as they pull more weapons. Naruto weave out of the way, dodging all of the kunais with ease. His Sharingan able to see them in slow motion. He suddenly ducked as a sword whipped over his head. He then drop and roll as a man leg stomped the ground where his head once was. Using one hand, Naruto pushed himself off the ground and twisted mid-air. The thug with the Tonto blade smirked. Because Naruto wasn't able to move in mid-air, he swiped. But he did not expect for Naruto to grab his shoulder and pull himself down, dodging the swipe. Naruto's feet were now free as he slammed it in the man's chin. He then proceeded to grab him by the shoulder and jump, dodging the other swipe that would have taken his legs off. He held on to the man's head with one hand. Flipping behind him, Naruto kicked him. He slammed into his own friend that stabbed him right through the chest because of how his blade was set. Stomping down on the kunai on the ground, it flipped into the air as Naruto kicked it, deflecting the one behind him. A fireball jutsu was launched towards him in the center, followed by 3 explosives. The body of the one that was impaled was dropped to the ground as the 6 other men jumped away. A huge fire followed by a huge explosion seemed to have taken Naruto out. The one that threw the explosive tag was getting an earful. You idiot! What if you destroy the artifact? It will be worthless! They cursed at him, realizing that he might as well just destroy their cash payout. However, he was unable to say anything as two hands grabbed his leg and pulled him on the ground. The hiding like a mole technique. His head was the only thing above surface as Naruto jumped out of the ground. They launched weapons as Naruto poof, showing that he was a clone as they killed their own friend with a kunai to the skull. Damn it, where's the real one? They said, looking around as one of them backed up to a tree, checking his surroundings, only for Naruto to come down, his legs attached to the tree. He slit the man's throat as he collapsed on the ground, drawing the attention of the other four. They came rushing over, only to see 3 explosives on his back. Boom! 2 of them were taken out in a violent blast. The other 2, realizing the threat, decided to run away. Not looking where he was going, one of them got a wire stuck around his neck. He was moving too fast and not focusing. The wire split into his throat, not completely decapitating him but enough for him to stagger and hold his throat. As he staggered back, Naruto did not hesitate to finish the job. As he crumbled down to the ground, the last one took to the trees, running for his life. He looked behind him to see those red eyes. Fear immediately coursed through him as he screamed in fear, as he ended up tripping over his own goddamn feet when he jumped. He did not step on the tree properly and he fell down to the ground in a heap. His back slammed against a tree as Naruto landed in front of him. Please, don't do this, he said. Orochimaru landed nearby as he arrived to see the same blade that this man was using earlier through the tree. The other part was in his skull. Orochimaru looked towards Naruto as he turned to face him. As Naruto was looking at the Sannin, an unreadable expression on his face. However, Orochimaru stepped forward without hesitation. It's showing, he said. Naruto calmed himself as he seemed to calm down. He closed his eyes and relaxed his Sharingan, dissipating. Orochimaru was correct. The boy had a grasp on his darkness. Orochimaru knew a lot about Naruto. Granted, he hasn't taken interest in him since recently, but he knew about his history. One did not tend to bottle up darkness that much and not have it consume them. This child has been neglected and put through so much, but he still seemed to be a normal child. But that was wrong. Only 13 years of age, and yet he possessed strength and speed that some Jonins would be jealous of, while those punks were not the best of best. There were 7 of them. They had the numbers, and they were grown adults, and yet, one by one he picked them off without suffering any damages. The child was good. More good than he originally thought. And one thing that Orochimaru loved to see, he did not hesitate to slaughter those who he deemed as his enemies. That cold, wicked look in his eyes, Orochimaru knew it too well. You were the one that set this up, didn't you? Said Naruto. You told him that I had the artifact. After all, there is no possible way that they would know that I have it. As smart as I originally thought, Orochimaru said. Why would you do that? Said Naruto. Well, we just began. After all, I haven't started to actually teach you yet. Think of that as your introduction ceremony. And you've proven to me that you are worth my time and worth my effort. Orochimaru got a devilish grin on his face. So this is where we truly begin. Time skip. Naruto was struggling. His clothing was torn badly. He was bleeding all over. There was even a slash across his cheek. As he was sweating and tired, taking deep breaths, he was lying on a grassy field, struggling to move. In front of him was Orochimaru. The Sannin was holding on to a blade that was dripping with Naruto blood. Naruto was exhausted, tremendously so. Orochimaru had a few scuff marks on him, but nothing too major. The reason was simple. Orochimaru was not holding back against Naruto. This was not the first and this would not be the last. But this was the worstest one yet. The Sannin wanted to see it for his own eyes. Perhaps. You're done today, he said. I must say though, I'm disappointed your time. I thought it would be longer. Did I say I was done? Orochimaru smiled when he heard that. Naruto pulled himself up forcefully, his Sharingan fading in and out until they locked on. He got to his feet as Orochimaru saw it. The wound that resided on his cheek started to heal. The Sannin seemed more than delighted than before the moment he noticed that. At the end of the day, this time Naruto could not get back up. He was mentally and physically exhausted, having shattered his limits time and time again today. There was a sword in its sheath, resting alongside him as Naruto passed out. A gift from his sensei. Orochimaru has been training Naruto in Kinjutsu, and the child has been coming along well. Orochimaru told him that he wouldn't give him a true blade until he impressed him, but today, he impressed him. But that was not the only thing residing there. There was also a pot as well. A plant pot with dirt inside of it, but no plant there. By the time that Naruto regained enough strength to be able to get to his feet, he saw what his sensei left behind. As much as the man seemed to be a cold, calculated person, well, he was. However, Naruto picked up the blade, feeling great. He looked at the pot though, as there was a note behind. Confused by it though, his sensei wanted him to supply the pot, the dirt, with a tiny bit of his chakra tonight. Naruto wasn't quite sure what the hell was going on with that. However, he took it along with him. Meanwhile, with Orochimaru, the Sannin was jotting down a few things in his book, as there was a few ideas about Naruto that he has been focusing on. For one thing, there was many mystery to the boy's growth. And he wasn't just talking about his abilities or that, his strength or speed. Something or someone has been helping him. There was no doubt about that. Orochimaru saw Naruto use techniques that he wouldn't have access to. There was no way that he could have stole them from the Uchiha library. Given how they treated him, frankly, he would have gotten caught. How did he learn those techniques? None of them were in the Konoha library. Fire techniques that Orochimaru have heard about in the past when he was much younger, but he's never seen a ninja within the village perform. Even the shadow clone technique, while that was a part of Konoha. Who would have taught him that? The Sannin did not ask because he knew that someone was helping Naruto. Whoever it was, they were powerful. But they were helping to make the boy reach new heights. Offensive and defensive techniques to keep him well protected out there. However, Orochimaru knew that this boy was a genius amongst genius. The others tend to believe that he was not worth their time. The fading Senju clan and the idiotic Uchiha clan, not realizing the gem that they left out in the dust. But soon they will. Under his guidance, they will. The Sannin had big plans, many things that were cooking up, and Naruto was going to be a part of them. His tongue extended out of his mouth as he licked his lips in happiness and anticipation. Meanwhile, Naruto did not go home that night. Well, he did go home just for a few minutes to place a sword and a plant down. At the moment, deep within one of Konoha's many forests, there was a cave. Inside of that cave was none other than Naruto and Mikoto. Ever since a couple months back, where the both of them finally confessed their feelings for one another. Naruto had loved her since the day that they met. How she was sweet and caring. She, on the other hand, she liked him before they even met. She used to watch him, see him. It doesn't matter what the other said. It doesn't matter how hard they tried to make it for him. He always overcome whatever they had to say about him. No matter what. His courage and determination to never give up was just one of the many aspects that she loved about him. And she could not go on for the rest of her life and denying her feelings. So she told him, once and for all, she told him the truth. And ever since then, the both of them has been finding places all over the Hidden Leaf to be together, knowing that if they were spotted by any of the Uchiha members, things would go from 1 to 1,000 in an instant. They made precautions and safety just in case to make sure that no one would catch on to what they were doing. Every single day that passed, Naruto was counting down to the day when she would have to be married to that bastard. Perhaps it was how the world was set right now. Perhaps it was because it seems like a third Shinobi War was going to break out. They changed it. The agreement that was made so long ago was revamped. And the age that Mikoto would started to be brought into the fold to make fully preparations into becoming the bride of Fukaku was 16. The ceremony will happen a few months after her 16th birthday. They seem to be rushing this because this would solidate the bonding of the Uchiha clan. Just like the Hyuga clan that had their main house and their branch house, the Uchiha clan had many minor houses. And you had some of the more powerful ones over the ages that breed stronger members than others. And Mikoto's father was a part of one of those strong houses. And now, Mikoto had to go. She knew that she couldn't stay out for much longer. However, she just couldn't let go. Neither could Naruto. They were just 14, they have been doing nothing but kissing, but it was the best that the both of them has ever felt. Her father has always made her feel like she was less. He wanted a boy after all. And it always made her feel like she wasn't important. She lost her mother at a young age. So she was never given that recognition that she wanted. They even were making sure that she did not stay in the program for too long. Her serving her time as a shinobi of the village was already on record. And it seems like her next thing to do was just to be the wife of Fukaku. Nothing else, nothing more. That was the treatment that she was receiving, and she was simply supposed to shut up and do it because she was being faithful to her clan, loyal to her clan, as much as it pained her. It brought some bad memories and some bad thoughts. As she started to actually tear up, Naruto held her in his arms and asked her why. Why was she crying? She really didn't want to marry Fukaku. She really did not want her life to be chosen for her because she did not want that life. She wanted to be with Naruto. She doubted that her feelings would ever change. And she felt nothing for Fukaku. She was being forced into doing this. However, in everyone's eyes, this was a huge celebration and she should be grateful that she get to marry him just because he was a part of the main house of the future leaders. And she was destined to provide him with future leaders of the clan, strong heirs that will make the Uchiha clan great for generations and generations to come. Naruto was very serious as he looked at her. He made her a promise not too long ago that he wouldn't allow it to happen, even if that means forsaking all of this. There was only a few people in this village that he cared about, and on that list Mikoto was at number 1. Tsunade was gone outside of the village, offering to take him with her, but the clan refused. So even if it meant him being seen as a traitor, Naruto wouldn't allow any of this to happen to her. His words shocked her though, as she thought about the consequences that would follow them leaving this village, to forsake everything for love. A part of her desired just to get away from it all, to not be burdened by this responsibility, to not be forced into this wedding that she did not want. But she feared that the Uchiha clan would detest this in so many ways. Their rage would be bound by nothing, and they would hunt them to the ends of the earth. But Naruto told her, as he held her cheeks and told her, looking directly in her eyes, even if he had to fight every single last one of them, to make sure they were together, he would do it all. Later that night as she reached home, her father questioned her about her whereabouts. She told him a lie, which had many bases to be seen as a truth. Her and Naruto were playing this smart. As she sat there that night thinking about the future, thinking about if she could really do this, if she could really just leave like that, and the consequences that would happen afterwards. As for Naruto, when he got to his house, immediately before grabbing the knob, Naruto could tell that someone was inside, and the person was allowing him to know that. Stepped inside, ready for a battle. Naruto emerged, ready to throw down. However, as he made his way in the darkness, not even bother to turn on the lights. After all, he knew more about this place than anyone else. Someone was sitting on his couch, bathed in darkness, as he was unable to see anything on their face. But he could feel them from here, and whoever this was, it wasn't your average individual, as Naruto had no earthly idea to who it was though. The person was seated there. They did not speak for a few seconds, which seemed to be hours, given the tenseness of the situation. "I brought you another box." Naruto was surprised. This was a person. Why now though? Why reveal himself now? Naruto stepped closer but paused. "What are you talking about?" he said. A small chuckle could be heard. "Very impressive. Not just heading first into something that you have no idea about. I was right to not underestimate you. A truly remarkable child." The person finished. "But you have nothing to fear. I bring you no harm. I simply bring you the resources to help you elevate yourself, to become the best that you can," the person announced. The voice was old. Not ancient, but old. "Who are you?" said Naruto. "Reveal yourself to me." The person did not reveal himself. Instead, they asked him a question. "Have you ever wondered where your father originated from? Given that you have no grandparents, that your line within the Uchiha history was a secret. He told me that they were dead." "Are you my grandfather?" said Naruto. "Yes, that is correct. And I'm far from dead." "Well, I'm not surprised," said Naruto. "If you haven't heard, your son was a deadbeat, a coward, a truly scum of mankind. Unfortunately though, I cannot disagree with you on that. He brought me such shame that I never truly revealed myself to him. He went to his death without knowing just how much he was truly connected to the Uchihas, knowing his true history. However, I could not just simply allow him to know the truth about me. With the path that he took, I've watched him for many years. You, on the other hand, you are nothing like him. You're not even like your mother. You seem to have taken their both personalities and crumble it together and create a new. You're smart, focused, level-headed even in dangerous situations. You don't hesitate to get the job done. It doesn't matter what the situation is. And you've proven to be more than loyal to those that you care about. And it doesn't matter how bad things get. You know the repercussions of certain actions, so you do not allow them to consume you. But you are making your stand in your own way. After all, breaking up a marriage proposal by being with the bride, despite being formally warned not to do anything of sorts. Naruto's gaze narrowed dangerously when he heard that. Calm yourself, child. As I said to you, I'm not here to cause you any problems. Besides, with that amount of information on you, it would have been easy to spill it without hesitation. But why would I do anything to hurt my own? I guess there is no point in denying this. The rumor alone would cause great problems for me and her, and I can't afford for that information to get out. That is true, the man said. You could always kill me though, and get rid of the information leak entirely. But would you really go that far as to kill your own grandfather, he said. A grandfather that I've not even seen up till now, said Naruto. That is right. I waited in the shadows. I wanted to see what you were really worth before I reveal myself to you. And now that I know. The man got to his feet and stepped forward. Naruto was perplexed, shocked beyond his wildest imagination, as the man that stood in front of him. He was older. However, Naruto had seen his photo before, but he was much older. Naruto couldn't believe who he was looking at. This shouldn't be remotely possible. How? You're supposed to be dead. Death is just an illusion that can be concocted by many. Standing in front of Naruto was the legend, the myth, Uchiha Madara. As Naruto could not believe that he was actually looking at Madara Uchiha right in front of his eyes. Unlike many, your grandmother was different from many who thought it was simply to exist and nothing more. She saw that existing for the Uchihas was not the right way alone. Unlike the others that believed my way was wrong, and that it was justified in turning against me. That there was no way that they would ever go against Hashirama, despite the true leader of the clan standing in front of them, telling them what to do. Your grandmother, on the other hand, she chose correctly. When she heard about my death, and that I failed to come back as a ruler of the Hidden Leaf, she wasn't too pleased. I watched her for some time, for years, just to see if she can know my secret. When I revealed myself to her, she was surprised, believing that I was a phantom, a ghost, a being that no longer belonged to this world. When she laid her hands on me, though she knew I wanted an heir, a child, to pass on all my gifts to. After all, the world believed that I was dead, and I had other plans. And having a child would bring forward a new set of opportunities that would help further my goal. However, your grandmother died, giving birth to your father, with only one other person knowing that your father was my son. He has long since passed, but he shared the same qualities that you do. He was loyal to the end. Your father was taken in and raised as one of the Uchihas, without any connection to his history, just his mother's. not truly knowing just how much he was a part of the clan. I figured that introducing myself right away would lead to many unfortunate incidents. I wanted to see if your father had what it takes to grow up without an identity and learn to become who he wants on his own. But as the time passed by, all he did was disappoint me again and again and again. When you were brought into this world, I knew that there was something special about you. Because there's things that you yourself do not know about your birth. What makes you special, being half Senju and being half Uchiha? You're not just half of half. You're a perfect blend. You became one, a different person entirely. And after watching you, you're the only one that I felt confident enough to reveal myself to. Because unlike your father, you show me that you were trustworthy of knowing about my existence. Naruto was trying to wrap his mind around that. He was the grandson of Madara Uchiha. It was mind-boggling. The strongest Uchiha that ever was brought into the clan, said by many. And here he was, his grandfather. Why now, said Naruto. How does my knowledge of you being alive change anything? You're old, but that is not the problem. You seem to be sick. Ah, yes, I am. My own doing, unfortunately. But that doesn't matter. So what now? You're my grandfather. Am I supposed to drop everything and join your side? You keep on talking about my loyalty. Your goal was to take over Konoha, right? You expect me to join you because of my blood ties to you. And even if I were to join you, I'm strong, but I'm nowhere close to having the power to take over a village. And you in your prime was a monster amongst monsters. They refer to you people as gods because you rearrange continents when you fight. However, in the state that you're currently in, you might be able to still pull off a few things, but you're nowhere close to the power that you would need to dominate this village, said Naruto. Madara looked towards Naruto. Just as I thought, your mind works in ways that only true seers of this world can. What do you mean, said Naruto. I will not try to convince you into doing anything that you do not desire. I will be around for a couple more years. Given the state that I'm in, my life will not be wither away so easily. However, you will be the one to come to me when you realize that this world is failing. When you realize that something must be done about it. And when you are ready, you will be the one to guide it in the proper way to fix this broken world. But be prepared, he said. The third great shinobi war will be starting anytime now. As he started to walk away, Naruto said nothing. He just watched him leave. Once the man was gone, Naruto stepped to the table as he saw 3 boxes. There was also a note. Location. So this was where he was. The man trusted him so much not to tell anyone about this. If people were to know. Naruto folded the note as he placed it somewhere, rather secretive. He looked in the box and saw equipments and more scrolls as well. He didn't want to sway his own thoughts. So why come here then? What was his end goal, Naruto thought, as Madara left the village, able to enter and leave as he pleased. Something came out of the ground beside him. It was a creature. Its skin white. It had green hair. It was known as Zetsu. So, is he coming along? Not yet, said Madara. But soon enough. With that, he disappeared into the shadows. Naruto kept that information to himself. He did not even tell Mikoto about it, not wanting her to be wrapped up in this. It was for her own safety, he believed. The next morning when Naruto woke up, as he looked over towards the pot by his window that Orochimaru gave him, Naruto was shocked. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and 1 year passed. However, starting that year, a calamity befall. War was still going on around the elemental nation, but it was on a very small scale. However, as the months went by, the fuel started to ignite the fire even more, and it turned into another goddamn world war. Chaos reigned over the elemental nation. There was death, destruction all around. At the moment, Naruto was in front of Kushina, one of his good friends, as she was telling him to be safe out there. Minato stood by Naruto's side. The both of them had grown over the years, reaching new heights in their career that many people were shocked by. Both boys now possess the title of Jonin. It was different for the both of them than many. They weren't on a team. After all, they were apprentices. It was their master that put them in for the recommendation. Yes, and Jiraiya and Orochimaru felt it best. As they leveled up, they gave them the promotion to Chunin. Passing the standard test was easy for them. And then they gave them the promotion to Jonin. And passing that test was more than easy for them. Orochimaru started to dive more deeper into his work. There were secrets between Orochimaru and Naruto that only one other person knew about, and that was Mikoto. Orochimaru did not know that she knew though. The Sannin had taken some of Naruto's blood and DNA over the years, as there were things about Naruto that the world was not aware of, but they will be aware very soon. Kushina was wishing the both of them luck, having been confined to the village because of the powerful seal that kept the Nine-Tailed power at bay. Time and time again, they were being sent out in groups, either to lend support or aid their fellow men on the battlefield. The Hidden Stone was one of the main driving forces, as they were pulling with so many, using their overwhelming numbers, something that Konoha did not possess. However, quality over quantity every single day. The battle was taking its toll on many people, as some of them were still very young. They had to kill. They had to be ruthless, merciless. They had to become monsters. Minato was working on many things during that time. One of the greatest things that he was working on was an evolution to a technique known as the Flying Raijin that would make him be virtually unstoppable if he could pull it off. Yes, and he was coming along greatly with it. As the time passed, things were growing closer and closer between Naruto and Mikoto. Naruto promised her that he would not allow her to marry Fukaku, something that she did not desire. She had been struggling with this for the longest time now, but she would leave with him. As Naruto was thinking about it, he hadn't seen Madara again, still having the location that the man had given him. Granted, it has not been a long time, but still, perhaps Madara could give them the security of not being found by anyone in the elemental nation. As Naruto knew that the time was coming up, Mikoto being a few years older than him, she was going to turn 16 very soon. When her 16th birthday arrived, proposals were being made. Things were being prepared. It was that night that Naruto and her sat within that cave as they spoke to one another. They made up their mind. They couldn't stay here anymore. Despite the war raging, Naruto knew that they would be seen as traitors, but he didn't see any other options other than killing Fukaku, which would lead to a academical downfall, and his head would be on the chopping block worse than it is right now. However, Madara has somehow been able to keep off the radar, and with the war going on, their forces would not be expended to look for them, so this was the best time to leave. Mikoto had already said her piece to herself. Her father only wanted to use her as a political gain, to be a stronghold within the clan, so she did not care much for that, or him. However, upon that night when she returned, her father was seated there, waiting on her. "Father," she said, greeting the man. However, his face was stern and serious. "You were with him, weren't you?" "Excuse me," she said, looking rather confused. "You were with him, Naruto, weren't you?" "What?" "I made you up." "Cut the crap," he said. "Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you know how long I've been working for this? Do you have any idea what your loyalty will bring to the clan?" he said as he gave her a stern look. Mikoto knew that she was caught, that look in his eyes. But how? How would he know? She thought to herself, looking at the man. Time skip. Naruto was packing his things, knowing that he had to leave some people behind. Kushina was a great friend of his. Minato, rivals and friends. However, Minato loved Kushina and there was no doubt about that. And he loved Mikoto. Tonight, they were going to leave the village. Tonight, they were going to go away. Yes, they were. Naruto was getting ready, already planning everything out. He knew that everything would be problematic from this moment on, but as he picked up what Madara had given to him, the location where he was, if Madara can do it, so can they. He would have to apologize to her for not telling her what was up. His sensei, as many people did not care much for the Sannin, believing that his methods were too wicked or cold, Naruto saw the man as a teacher who guided him well. He respected the man, but he could not tell him that he was going to leave. Naruto was confused as Mikoto snuck into his house. She wasn't supposed to be here. They had already made up their mind where they were going to meet, and she had nothing with her. Mikoto, what are you doing here?" said Naruto. "This wasn't, I'm not going." Naruto looked at her confused. "What are you talking about?" "I changed my mind," she said. Naruto looked at her, unable to fathom what he was hearing from her. I don't understand," he said. "I changed my mind." She looked down. "I can't run away with you. And what? Live my life on the run forever. They will never stop hunting us down. And they will kill us for our betrayal. I'll keep you safe," said Naruto. "No, you can't. You're not strong enough. They will hunt us to the end of the earth. I realize how selfish I'm being, putting the clan against my feelings for you. I shouldn't be doing that. I was taught better than this, and yet here I am about to sacrifice all of that for feelings that could be gone in a couple of years, as far as I know." You don't mean that," said Naruto. Did someone threaten you? Did someone do something to you?" Naruto said as he brought his hand up and placed it on her, trying to dispel any genjutsu. She slapped away his hand. "I'm not under any illusion. It's just, it took me a time. It took me long enough to see that what I'm doing was stupid. And now that I'm faced with this, and now that I'm going to actually go through with it, I realize I was being an idiot, a fool. My life will be 1,000 times better here with him." I don't want to be on the run with you, constantly looking over my shoulder. And the only way for me to fix everything, to make sure that the clan is kept together, to be faithful and loyal, because isn't that what it's all about? Being loyal. I have to simply stop loving you. You don't mean that. After everything we've been through, said Naruto. Please, talk to me. If someone has done something, just tell me. No one has done anything to me. What can't you understand? My feelings have changed because I've realized what kind of idiot I've been. I made a mistake, rushing into something without thinking. I've always been like that. And now I just realized how I was about to ruin my life. But I can't go through with it. I can't ruin my life for you. And for what? Feelings? I can't. She turned her back as Naruto grabbed her hand. He kissed her, but she pushed him off. Stop it! Get it through your head. It's over, she said. Naruto thought that his kiss would show her that what she was saying was wrong, but he looked at her. Before making his way, as he placed his hand on the door, he pulled out something out of his pocket. I know it's soon, but I got this for you, said Naruto. I've been saving for some time now, said Naruto. And I got this. As Naruto held out a ring box. I know that what we have is eternal, so I wanted to make sure, he said. And I got this because I love you. I don't know why you're saying this now, but please, don't do this. I'm begging you, he said to her. She looked down towards him. Her face was unreadable as she looked at him straight. I don't love you. I can't marry you. My life will be worse than what it is now. At least this way, I can live a better life than running. I will have everything I ever wanted as the wife of the clan head. And that is what he will be, the clan head. I made a mistake. You have to get over this because I won't marry you. And I don't want to be with you anymore. I didn't mean to lead you on. But it's best if we just cut things right here and now. Because I realized my mistake. But it seems you haven't. The box fell from Naruto's hand as she stepped away from him. She opened the door and left. As Naruto sat there, as Mikoto made her way, leaving Naruto there on the ground, quiet, as he just sat there within the darkness. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.